should have used the ropes. The challenge came this, and then right there.
皆さんこんにちは。U-NEXT 格闘技チャンネルのお時間です。今回司会進行を務めさせていただきます石渡です。よろしくお願いします。さて今回は大変スペシャルな企画となっております。昨年の大晦日RIZIN vsベラトールの対抗戦で見事勝利した不安アーチュレッタ選手ご本人とスパーリングをさせていただきます。そしてご自身の試合も実戦形式で振り返っていただけるというスペシャルな企画となっております。さらにゲストとして先日ベラトールと契約を果たした第14代ウェルター級キングオブパンクラシスト菊入正幸選手にもお越しいただいております。それでは菊入選手どうぞ。よ
ろしくお願いします。
ろしくお願いします。そして不安アーチュレッタ選手です。どうぞ。
Hello everyone, I just want to thank you for tuning in. Today we have a special treat for all the fans here in Japan, bringing you special martial arts training that I do myself, and also be able to bring a world title of Bellator here into the gym today to share with fans and share with true fighters, guys that I've looked up to and watched fight throughout my career. Super honored to present and show and let people experience it, because that's what winning titles is about, is sharing and experiencing stories and training together.
ベルトも確かありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。重いですね。
I like to show this to people, and especially fighters, because to let them know that titles aren't not far away from their grasp. As long as they train and dedicate and sacrifice their training to be world champions, they can too become world champions as themselves. And so, you know, with legendary fighters, as Shintaro himself, we like to look up to and try to meet his standards and surpass them in the future.
ツイッターで見かけたんですけど、菊入選手とアーチュレッタ選手は練習されたことはありますか？
うちのネバークイットにも来ていただいたことがありますし、あとは自分に1ヶ月前ぐらいに、半月ほどアーチュレッタのジムに
そうなんですね。
はい、でそこで2週間ほど練習させてもらって、はい、結構いい経験になりました。
じゃあもう2人は仲良しということで。
はい。
You guys are close.
Yes, very.
日本はどうですか？なんか結構ツイッター見ると楽しんでるように見えますけど。
So my stay in Japan has been amazing. Really diving into culture and experience to understand what Japan truly is. And I've been able to go down into some very beautiful places in Nikko, Japan, Ume, and here in Tokyo, where later I still have other plans to go visit. And so it's been truly amazing. And along these ways, running into true fans and taking pictures and handing them the belt to experience it has been so eye-opening, because everyone's so excited and they don't want to touch the belt, but I force the belt upon them because they could experience the true weight of what it is to be a champion. And when they feel how heavy it is, they understand the sacrifice that goes into that. And to come here today and be able to train with Shintaro and be able to train with Masa, it's going to be fun, because I get to not only test myself against someone that has a living icon of martial arts, but also someone that is upcoming and that is going to be representing Japan at the next level in Bellator. And he happens to be a teammate of mine now. And so to be able to share knowledge, there's nothing more, how can I say this, intimate than fighting with another person. You get to know them on a different level with intimacy that people will never be able to understand. And it's nothing that's harming one another. It's just an intimate battle that takes place between each other, that you share a spiritual bond from there going forward.
これを聞いてすごく安心しました。スパーリングもすごく楽しみなんですが、まずは、RIZIN40年末大晦日の試合の振り返りをしていきたいと思います。菊入選手も今回は観戦されていました。
はい、会場行ってでしっかり、アーチュレッタのショーを見ようと思って行きました。
会場の熱とかすごかったですよね。
すごかったですね。やっぱりもう入場とかがやっ ぱり花あるし全選手、もう全選手すごい白熱して高いですごい面白かったです、はい、
ありがとうございます。それでは早速、キム・スーチョル VS バン・アーチュレッタ選手の対抗戦に関して振り返っていきましょう。よろしくお願いします。戦う前の、キム・スーチョル選手の印象をお聞かせいただきたいですけど。
So I knew Kim Sutra was going to be very durable. He's going to bring a funky style, and that I had to find my rhythm early. Yeah, the rhythm. I know I had to establish rhythm first and break his rhythm in order to be able to dictate the fight.
では早速、映像の方を振り返っていきましょう。
Right here was very nerve-wracking for me because for so long I've wanted to fight in Japan. It's a lot of nerves. There's so much emotion going through my insides right now.
もう2回目のロープ登った側に僕2階にいたんですよ。
Thank you. I felt everyone's energy inside the ring, so that's what helps me is involve the fans, is to get them excited. Because when you're in here and the announcement's going on, the lights are all to the ring, so everything is black around as they know. So it's hard to take everything in, so you have to look for a second. The first exchange right there, when I landed my left hook, I felt it land very flush. Like it landed clean, like it was a clean hit to the jaw. When I looked across, I seen how nervous he got from that first encounter. So we have another exchange here. And when he shoots, that's when I knew he was going to be hurt because he doesn't shoot very often. And when I landed that encounter, he came to rush, and that's what I was wanting him to do more. And so my first mistake of the fight happens right now, within the first 10 seconds. When I land a takedown, right here is where I got too excited about Pride or RIZIN rules, about throwing knees, where I had the guillotine already locked up. So right here is my first mistake was I was excited to implement RIZIN rules to knees to a grounded opponent. That I missed the guillotine opportunity. My jiu-jitsu coach was very angry because he said I could have finished the fight in 10 seconds. Because if you see my hands, they're locked. All I had to do was adjust, and instead I threw the knee, and I lost the guillotine right here. This is the point where I lose the guillotine.
僕はこの最初に投げたシーンで、こんなに体強いんだと思って、アーチュレッタ選手がびくともしなくて吹き飛ばしたからびっくりしました。
He landed a good shot right there and started coming forward. I was like, ooh, shot. Good wrestling.
これ聞きたかった。
Yes, I made a mistake here by coming up. I should have took him down with off the knees instead of coming up because now he locked guillotine. I made the mistake of coming up to take him down that I should have finished on the ground, which I could show later on how to, if I wouldn't have came to my feet and finished on the ground where I was training mostly.
すごく深く入ってたように見えたけど、どうでしたか？
For him, how here I trained with Brian Ortega a lot and Felipe Del Monica, my jiu-jitsu coach, that they showed me so much guillotine defense. I knew I had to bring my feet narrow, and if he looks right here, his lock is under my butt, and so now he can't get the squeeze that is necessary to choke. It would have been a lot tighter, but now my right hand is still fighting the choke arm. My right hand is dug in, and then here I lean him against the rope because it is also relieving pressure from him to squeeze. Once he broke his leg lock, I knew I could take him down because now he has to start adjusting his lock, and now he has to readjust his feet, and now I knew I was safe.
なんかこの後はなんかもうウェイト体重の移動がすごく上手でもう決まらないなっていうのは見てて思いました。
Yeah, and then now he is just squeezing very hard with his right hand, and because he showed me how strong his right hand was, I wanted him to burn muscle from him squeezing. Right here, what I appreciate about Japanese fans is they appreciate the little techniques that are going on right here. Because as they both know, there's a lot of positioning changing that's happening right here, hip to hip, hands and hand fighting. So a lot of hand fighting, right? A lot of different hand fighting.
あといつも頭の位置はなんか顎の下で意識してますか？
Yes, if you break his position and his posture, it's hard for him to try to attempt submission. Where if you both have same level head, then the battle for it's 50-50. And then with now Sucho on his feet is a lot like he's starting to figure out, like he's starting to fight panic, which is dangerous. He did a really good job of moving his head and throwing while I was throwing. So right here I'm trying to control position so I could try to open up for the submission more. Like I was waiting for him to make a big movement up so I could slide in the arm choke. But Sucho Kim's very good. He got his elbow in and he stayed very tight.
今のは聞いたでしょ。蹴ってローキックは痛かったですか？
When he kicked me, it hurt, but the one that I threw, I didn't feel that one. When he blocked it, I didn't feel that one, but the one he threw at me, I felt those.
痛かった。1ラウンドでキム・スーチョルの細かいパンチが、顔に何回か入ったと思いますけど、それのなんかダメージはどうでしたか？
A little bit of the body shots were kind of affecting because I wasn't expecting at the time. But what was different for me that messed with my mind was how slippery the canvas was compared to the Bellator canvas. Yeah.
そのリングっていう点はどうでしたか？
I like it. Yeah, I liked it a lot. He did really good evading. Every time I came forward, he evaded and then hit me. So right here, I know he's trying to find his rhythm, so I had to step back, and then I was able to close distance and get into the shot.
毎回テイクダウンでキム・スーチョル選手のリズムをシャットダウンするのがすごくなんか今回大きなターニングポイントだったのかなって見てて思いました。
Yeah, because I knew my punches weren't landing as clean as I wanted them to, and my timing was off. I had to go to my second game plan. So now I'm starting to feel how frustrated he is, and he's starting to like get a little recklessly. So I want to try to control him more.
今回リングでやっていつもケージだったらなんかコントロールしやすいと思うんですけどリングでどうだった？
Yeah, the ring, when I pressured into him, there was more give. So I kept trying to force him into the corner post where it wasn't as much give, and I could put my weight more on him. Where now he met two forces. He met my force in the corner ring post, and both is like weighing down on him.
その点のやりにくさはでも大丈夫だったってことですかね。
Yeah, I knew that if I was on the ropes, they were going to break it up. But if we were on the corner post, they were going to let a lot more action happen. And it wasn't going to involve the side refs as much either because they weren't going to be pushing us.
まあそれは僕らも分かってるんですけどね。もう1回目でそれをうまくやるんですね。
Yeah, well, it's important for us to understand the battlefield we're fighting on, so I had to do a lot of research, and it's from previous years of watching so much K1 and Pride and Ring of Fire and Pancrase and everything like that you learn these type of rules and you adjust to them. And so every time I knew when I take him down and he stood up, I call it the gray area of fighting, that most people let their guard down when they break apart. That's where I landed the two big elbows at.
はい。あれを見ててすごいなんかダメージあったなと思いました。
Yeah, that's where I knew I was going to do more of the damage on Sucho. So just like standing on bottom, when you're ready to strike, you got to have head position. Because right now it's kind of 50-50 in this area. I got to get his back flat and lean his head against the post. That way there's no submission attempts. Now I'm working my head to the center. That way I can start doing more ground and pound. Make him uncomfortable first and then start trying to open up.
頭でこう顎を上げさせて、それで起き上がって肘っていうのを狙ってたってことですね。
Yes, like right here, he's trying to frame a lot, and so I knew I had to try to work my head and have head position That way he panics and then try to open up. But Sucho's very good. He knew the things I was trying to do because he's world-class athlete. So he stopped a lot of those attempts. And right here I try to go for a throw, but he stopped.
本当にもう強い者同士が戦っているのがすごく見てて面白かった。
Yeah. Sucho Kim's level of defense was a lot higher than I had anticipated. So now I'm finally starting to warm up a little bit. Like it took me a while to warm up in the fight because I didn't get to warm up in the back. That now I'm kind of like starting to feel a lot better. Because as Masa could attest to what I'm saying is he's seen me practice and seen how much output I could do. It always took me a little bit to warm up, but when I did, I was doing a lot more. So now I started finding out how Sucho Kim fights in this third round. He wanted to draw me in and let me go first so he could counter. As I came in right here, he hit me to the body, but as I came in, it spun me around. See, the first one there hit me, and then I threw it back a little bit like on my body. Now he has a no-arm guillotine, and so from here I keep coming up, and he has a really tight choke right here.
ね、そうですよね。
So my first defense was to not let his hips in and push him away. And when he would readjust, it would give me enough room to what we call alligator roll out of the choke.
この後ポジション取られると思うんですけど、それはもう上げてでもポジション取られてでもここは苦しかった。エスケープが大事だった。
Yeah, I had to give up position to not get submitted. But in the back in the rules meeting, they told us if you are in guard and there's no movement for longer than 10 to 15 seconds, I will stand you up. So being close from being choked out and getting hit to the body, I knew I had to hold them and recover. But what got me real nervous too is I knew Sucho Kim was very good at stomps, knees on a grounded opponent, so I didn't want to make more mistakes.
だからすごくこれ見てした。動くよりも。
Yeah. So now I'm trying to find my own rhythm and trying to find how to close distance without getting countered. So now I just learned that all he wants to do is counter me.
これは聞きましたか？
The exchange, it knocked my rhythm off. It kept making me unsure because as you see right here as I'm throwing, I'm trying to settle my feet as well, and my front foot starts to slip out. So that's what I mean by the mat being slippery. It makes me slide in, and I'm sliding into his punching, and so that's why I mean like the ring. It made me second guess my striking ability because how my feet just kept slowly sliding in, and I kept sliding into his punching, and so at the time I didn't understand what was going on. So when I want to generate my power and land my punches, and my feet slip out, like. Your power comes from your feet, and so when they slip out from under you, it's almost like you're gonna slip and fall on ice. You want to brace yourself, and so that's why you see my hand miss and his land because his are planted and he's just ready to counter. So for me, these were the biggest frustrations in the fight. So he did a good job at defending by staying tight. Like usually people want to start pushing away and then I could take them down. Luckily for me, if you go back, my chin is at the crick of his elbow. So my chin is tucked in right here. So we had the choke that went right through here. So I knew it wasn't going to be too deadly until we started. I was trying to like move my head a little bit to get back to the single leg. But then when I moved my head, it did sink under, right, getting close, right? Here is when it got sunk under the chin. So now I knew how close the fight was at this moment, because how very close the fight was. Because now he has close to 2 fight-ending submissions. He has close to 2 submissions that could end the fight. So when I get out of the choke, most people will concede and let them get on top. But because knowing how close it was, I knew I had to finish this takedown, or at least go back into really good position. As I roll out, I had to get back to the single leg. Now I'm not choked right here. Right here, no choke. So now I had to make some scramble. get to the leg, and then try to show something big.
Oh. なんであそこで膝やったのか分かんなかったんですけど、でもずっと頭の位置をここにしてて、でとかしてということですね。
Yeah. So there, like I knew he wasn't gonna think I was gonna do much, and so usually I if I can't get the takedown, I break off to do my strikes. And so if I can't get the takedown, I usually abandon the takedown to throw big strikes. And that's the gray area of fighting that I feel I'm best at. And that's where I knew I was going to win the fight if it came down to decision. But all in all, I had fun. I mean, it was a great experience, but I know I could perform better, and next time I know what's going to happen. Like for me, like I love, if I'm not the main event, I love fighting first because I know exactly when I'm fighting. And so your warm-up could be more precise, and you could be ready to go out there and put on a great performance. The hardest time to fight is the second person to fight, is because you never know what could happen, which I didn't know. The ceremony, I wasn't going to go back into the locker room. I didn't know if the fight was going to end in the first round before me. So there's a lot of uncertainty when you're the second fight. See, even when you're like the third, the fourth, or the main event, you're always going back to the locker room to get mentally prepared. But even the first, like the first fight, they're mentally prepared. But the second, there's a lot of like uncertainty, you know? But yeah, I mean, that's the fight, and I loved it. I had a great time, and it was a good battle, and I'm glad it ended it was the fight that it was because of, you know, Sucho Kim's, how good he was.
終わって判定を聞くまでの気持ちはどうでしたか？あったっていう自信があったか？
I felt like you know, that I had a good performance, and I felt like I won the fight. I just knew that I had you know, it was just an honor to fight inside Tama Arena. I knew the judges were going to judge throughout the whole fight, so I wasn't worried about misjudging, because I prefer them to judge the whole fight than round by round.
はい、本当にすごい試合でした。菊入選手から見てどうでしたか？
すごい完成されてるなっていうのがすごい感じますね。レスリングと打撃のコンビネーションが、やっぱもう他の選手と比べてやっぱずば抜けてすごいっていうのがすごい伝わってきましたね。
あとなんかスーパーアリーナに対して特別な思いを持ってくれてるのが僕は個人的にすごく嬉しかったです。
Yeah, it was definitely like a battlefield that every martial artist across the world wishes to fight in, and I was lucky enough to have that opportunity.
まあ嬉しいですね。アーチュレッタ選手も改めて試合を見返していかがでしたか？
Yeah, you know, you are your own worst critic, right? And so there's always more you wish you could have done. Obviously, the finish, a beautiful knockout or something, but all in all, I was happy with my performance.
本当に貴重なエピソードを聞かせていただいてありがとうございました。本当に勉強になりました。菊入選手とスパーリングの方を見せていただけるということで、僕もちょっと参戦させていただいて、はい。じゃあ早速やっていきたいと思います。よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。
So first, what Sucho Kim did very well is every time he would, Shintaro, can you back up every time I come in? So when I came in, he drove me in, and then when I threw, he moved his head and he hit me to the body. Boom! And it made me circle off and refigure out how I was gonna come in. So what I wish I would have done more was throw the jab, come, look low, and then come here. I was so focused on hitting the head that I should have changed my eye level on him. Because as we both fight, we both look at each other. We're examining. I come here, boom, yes. Now I could take advantage because I made him look at my feet. I took the angle, then here, fake off, boom, boom. So now another thing I wish I would have done better was Sucho Kim's jab was really good. Boom, and then he set this up every time I came here for the right hand every time I went to go throw. So he set his jab up, I get away from his jab, and he hit me right there. Boom. So I should have faked it as he did the jab, came off here, and once I seen that loaded up, I should have came back this way, and then I would have been in my angle to hit my jab. What faking this way does is draw his power out. So when he threw his jab, and then I go this way, I'm this way. Now he has to reset. And I would have already been there to hit him. So, again, see, I go this way, boom, boom, bam, boom. Would have been a lot better for me. Another thing I should have done was trip up his knees. Like, make him trip, but at the knee, give out his weight, his power. And a way to do that is, I should have not been so bouncy. I should have just came, stacked right here, pump, and then turn my foot. Pump, turn the foot, fake this to make him lean back, then this hand goes to his throat. And then I would have went this way. And then from there, I could have advanced. Even if he doesn't fall down, I fake, he doesn't fall down and he gets his feet. Get his feet, come there, or with the high kick. Those are some of the techniques I could have utilized better in the fight.
言葉がわかんないで受けるとめっちゃ怖いです。
So another thing is, when I got hit to the body, boom, I fell and I went to shoot. Then I came up to my feet and he got away. And then he circled out. Boom. What I should have done is take the shot. Here, in control, is what I wanted to do. So another way that I shot, I had here, and I finished here. I should have just popped them up right there and finished on top. One more thing was when he went to shoot on me, boom, I fought the head inside. I came here, boom, he turned back in, I sprawled. Instead of being here and wanting to throw the knee, boom, I should have came here and sat, and I would have finished the fight instead of the knee. Because the lock was here, I was already here on the lock. I came up to throw the knee. Because the rope was behind us, when I went to throw the knee, he stood up at the same time. And so I lose the choke now. I should have used the rope to the challenge. Came this, and then right there. I would have finished the fight in 10 seconds. Is there anything else you guys would like to see? Head position maybe? So usually in fighting, most people, they stay head to head. This gives him a lot of advantage to escape. Okay, so tell him to go ahead and escape and I'll try to hold him. Go ahead and like really escape. Create space and he circles out. Very easy, no? Where now, if I'm here and I just lower my head here, now he tries to escape, I'm here. Every time my head's here, picking his chin up. Anytime I feel movement, now tell him to try to go submission. If he tries to go submission now, go ahead. And then if I keep my head under his belly button, and see how easy submission? Where's a little more fighting. Where if it's either ears on the chest or heads here, no submission.
いつも気をつけてたことですけど、体感するとちょっとレベルが違う。
Yeah. And then now same thing on the floor. If I keep
エルボーはダメだよ。
Where if I keep my head by his belly button and under his chest, he can manipulate his body. Or go for submission. Where now, if I keep tight and my ear stays by his chest, there's no submission attempt. Now when I move my head here, and he tries to do submission,
できません。
there's no movement. But what the ring does really well and what the cage does really well, if his head could have movement, he could move. Even if I have head position. Because he could push.
ケージだったらこう挟まれたらアウトです。
Yeah, where what I mean is like, see how his head, he can move it, right? And even in the ring, similar. But what I did is I needed to put his head on the cage or on the ring post. And so now every time I have to turn his head right here and make him uncomfortable. Now the guard is open because he's not worried about the guard no more. He's worried about the pressure. I can stand up. Or if I'm here and he breaks his lock,
ショックをブレイクさせて、
すごく居心地が悪かったです。
Very, very. And that's what Sucho Kim felt, very uncomfortable, and he had to panic. And so now when he worked up, he was so worried about my head position that when I relieved, he relaxed. And then that's how I land.
その時に
Big elbows when I'm here, and he's pushing me away, and I relax, his arms go down. That's when, oh! Yeah, those are some tips of how I felt like I won the fight and controlled and was able to manipulate to see the judges to make sure I won.
僕の感覚ではアーチュレッタ選手の頭、このぐらいじゃないですか。こんな感じです。
Yeah, and that comes from the ground, like I talked about your feet being under you. So if my feet slip out from here, see how there's no pressure, and now he could move my face. Or if my feet are too close, he could trip, he could pull, he could reverse the situation. So you need a very athletic position right here. And then your hips are always fighting positions. That's what you seen with me and Sucho. I had the lock, but he had his hip in front of my hip. And so in those areas you were seeing me trying to get my hip in front of his and start trying to pull here. That way, now I have position, now he has to panic. And then he go back to the leg. Go here, come back here, fight inside. It's a lot of like little areas. Because now Shintaro is on me. What Sucho Kim should have done was he had to get frames and break head position here and lower his head to my level. Because when he's here and he's pressuring in and he's keeping my head on the wall, tell him to put a little more pressure. And you want to stand him up. Now Shintaro could control me. But what Sucho was doing good was he was getting low. But what he didn't do was fight the head position. And that's when you go this way, like this. And then you get the here, and then you fight this way. Lift up so here, now you can bring up body. And then same thing on bottom. So now if he holds, Shintaro holds head position, what I gotta do is start getting my hands and start creating frames this way. Because right now I can't utilize my neck to move around. Because of the pressure right here, I'm like folded like a piece of paper. So when you create position, you gotta get your frames inside. And get here. Now I can get position. Now I can get my feet involved and boom, and start getting active with my feet.
30 seconds.
That's the 20.
20 seconds.
That's the 10.
Good to go.
はい、ありがとうございました。実際にスパーリングをしてどうでしたか？
いやー、なんかもう向き合ってる時の緊張感とかファンのこうすげえ集中してるなみたいなのがすげえやっぱ向き合って伝わってくるなっていう感じですね。
Yeah, with Masa, I mean, he's definitely a future star for Japan going into Bellator. Very strong, very dynamic, great everywhere. He has very good durability from wrestling, grappling, his stand-up. He's fast, he's ready to attack at all times. So I felt very excited to move around with Masa because he's very poised. He could take the fight anywhere and definitely win the fight anywhere he takes it. I think Pancrase did a great job in raising Masa to be able to be adaptable in anywhere where the fight takes it. And it shows that he's ready for the next level, ready for the big leagues because of the fights that he has had with Pancrase, being a champion himself, so he knows how to win championship belts, and that's going to take him to the next promotion and bring titles back for Japan. I mean, Shitoro, training with him, man, I mean, I've watched a lot of his fights and been a huge fan of his. He's trained with a lot of my teammates in Alpha Male, and so I'm sure he adapted to my style very well because it's very similar to other trainers or other fighters that he's trained with. But for me, it's definitely an honor to still be able to practice with a living icon here in Japan and be able to feel how strong he is. He's like a bull. I try to get my hands around him and try to, you know, the Spaniard trying to tame a bull, it's almost impossible. And so to have that energy from him got to make me a fan that much more. So I'm truly deeply honored to be able to still move around with him and kind of find that uncomfortable zone where we started finding comfortability and being able to be training partners.
最後とっても居心地悪いところでちょっとした逃がしてくれるのかなと思ったら最後まで居心地悪かったです。
Yeah, I mean that's something that you know, you kind of like. It's like grasping one of your favorite fighters and being able to hold a position. You're like, oh, I got it. Like it's exciting for you, you know. But it's I'm honored to be able to move around with him again. And he's one of Japan's best and living samurai here in Japan. So again, I'm deeply honored to be able to, you know, it's like a bull rider. He's gonna hold on as long as he can until the bull kicks him off. And so that's what I got to do.
とっても愛を感じました。
That was-
本日はお忙しい中ありがとうございました。U-NEXT ではベラトールの試合を全試合ライブ配信しています。今回出演していただいたアーチュレッタ選手含めベラトールファイターの試合も U-NEXT では全試合見放題です。ぜひ概要欄からご視聴の方よろしくお願いします。そして U-NEXT 格闘技チャンネルではこれからも格闘技の魅力を思う存分皆さんにお届けします。ぜひチャンネル登録とグッドボタンの方よろしくお願いします。それでは バイバイ。